Searching for a new job used to make me so sad. I would find a few companies I was really interested in. I'd pour all my time into crafting a really excellent application. I'd get accepted by just a handful, and then usually I'd get rejected at some part of the interview phase, and I wouldn't get an offer, and I would be crushed. And then I'd take a couple days, I'd be depressed, and eventually I'd pick myself up and I'd do the whole thing over again. And I'd get on this emotional roller coaster of the job search. This was literally the hardest way to do it. Going one by one, being invested totally in each application and each company, and then being crushed every time I would get rejected. Now, if this sounds like you, I've got good news. There's a much easier way to go about it. And what I learned actually came from sales and marketing people I've worked with throughout my career. And now in those disciplines, there's something called a funnel. And take sales, for example. Let's say you're going to send 1,000 emails to try to find a potential buyer for the thing that you're trying to sell. And of those 1,000 people, maybe 100 of them will respond. And then maybe 10 of those will actually give you a call where you can have a chance to sell them more effectively. And then maybe only one or two of those people will actually go ahead and buy the thing that you're selling. And so notice at each step of the way, the number of people was whittled down. That's called the conversion rate of the funnel. And the whole idea with this is that there's really only two inputs to the process. Number one, you get people into the funnel, and number two, you try to convert them from one step to the next. And then I realized this sounds a lot like a job search. You send out 100 applications, you get 10 phone calls, you get 5 interviews from those phone calls, and maybe you get one offer out of the whole thing. Just like a regular sales funnel, you're going to put applications and companies at the top, and slowly they'll convert into different aspects. It's exactly the same thing. This way of thinking about my job search was a revelation. Now, thinking about your job search like a funnel gets you a few key things. Firstly, it gets you off the emotional roller coaster and lets you treat your job search like a process and like a funnel. And when you're working with a funnel, there's only two things you need to do. The first one is get people into the top of the funnel, and the second one is to convert people from one stage to the next. No more hoping, no more getting invested in just one company. It's just a process. And that gets you more realistic expectations. You know that there's going to be a conversion rate for every step of the funnel. And so you know that for every 100 applications, you'll only get 20 callbacks, and so on for every different step. You expect some amount of loss during the whole process, and that's okay. It's part of the process. And because it's a process, you can be much more organized. You know each step of the way what's going to happen. First, you're going to do your applications, then you're going to do your phone calls, then you're going to do your technical interviews, and then you're going to do your on-sites. And each step of the way, you're going to lose some companies, and that's all right. And actually, this is how companies think about hiring too. The whole thing for them is a process. They get 1,000 applicants, whittle that down to 100 phone calls, 10 interviews, and maybe 2 or 3 offers. Rather than thinking about your job search as something special and unique you need to dump all of your time and energy into, think about it like a process. Think about it like a funnel. But before you get going, there are a few things you can do to make starting your job search so much easier. And actually, I talked about them in this video.